So, welcome to all the devotees on the telephone conference call, Everyday Harinam Chant, and the Bhaktivedanta Bhagavad group. It is my pleasure to serve Srila Prabhupada's mission. Mahaprabhu has said that Bharat Bhumite Manusya Janma Hoilo Ja, Jiban Sharthak Kori Koro Paropkar, Amar Agya Taro Ei Desh, Jare Dekho Tare Kaho Krishna Updesh. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that those who have been fortunate to be born in the land of Bharat Bhumi, of India, make their lives successful and give Krishna consciousness to all. Jare Dekho Tare Kaho Krishna Updesh. So, thank you for giving me this opportunity to join in your Everyday Harinam conference. This is a wonderful service that you all are doing on behalf of His Divine Grace, for Jare Dekho Tare Kaho Krishna Updesh. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shlakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Aradhyo Bhagwan Vrajesh Tanaya Stadham Vrindavanam Ramya Kachi Dupasna Vrajavadu Vargena Taya Kalpita Shri Mad Bhagavata Mahamuni Krite Shri Mad Bhagavata Purana Amalam Prema Umarto Mahan Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Mataidam Na Yatra Agrahapara. So today's topic is glorifying the Vaishnava Acharyas, and there's a wonderful song that we can all sing on KK Songs. I'll give you all a minute to look it up. You can, the keywords are Eai Baar Karuna Karo Vaishnava Gosai. Eai. So you can put in Eai Karuna, Karuna, Karo, Karo, Vaishnava Gosai, space KK Songs, and you should find it. This is a wonderful song by Srila Narottam Das Thakur. So Srila Narottam Das Thakur, he just appeared after the disappearance of Mahaprabhu, and he appeared in a place called very close to Kheturi Gram, which is today Bangladesh. And he was one of the most foremost Vaishnava Acharyas. As a matter of fact, after the Panchatattva left, Janva Mata, the consort of Nityananda Prabhu, she became the Vaishnavi leader. She was the Vaishnavi Acharyani of all the Gaudiya Vaishnavas at that time. And it was her desire excuse me, to conduct a wonderful kirtan and a festival. Hare Krishna. And under her guidance, the Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas, including Narottam Das Thakur, one of the biggest Sankirtan festivals were held in Kheturi Gram at that time. And an unbelievable thing happened. When that festival was going on and the kirtan was going on, Narottam Das Thakur was a wonderful singer, wonderful author. He composed wonderful poems, Vaishnava poems. During that festival, the Panchatattva came back. They came back even after their departure, and they personally danced in that Sankirtan. So this is how glorious Narottam Das Thakur is. So Narottam Das Thakur has, we will sing this song. I hope everybody found it. And it's a wonderful song that will apply to all the Vaishnava Acharyas. As in the beginning, I mentioned, we always sing these prayers, Vande Aham Shri Guroho. So the word is plural. It's not Vandeham Shri Guru. Sometimes we mispronounce. So Vandeham Shri Guroho. Guroho is plural. I offer my obeisances unto all the Vaishnava Acharyas, all the Gurus. Also, just to make another note, we sing Mangalarti every day. So in that, in the line that repeats in every verse is Vande Guru Ho Sri Charanarvindam. Again, it is not Vande Guru, it is Vande Guru Ho Sri Charanarvindam. So Guru Ho means a plural. It means all the Vaishnava Acharyas in the line of Mahaprabhu, our Siksha Gurus, our Diksha Gurus, anybody guiding us. And especially it is meant for the pure Vaishnava Acharyas. So Vande Guru Ho. So this is very important to understand, based following in the footsteps of the great Acharyas. Dharma Swatattva Nihitam Guhyam Mahajana Jaina Gatha Sapantaha. Yamraj himself is mentioning this in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the 6th canto, chapter number 3, when he's speaking to his Yamdutas, to his servants, that Dharmasya Tattva Nihitam Guhyam. The true principles of religion or dharma are extremely confidential. Mahajana Jaina Gatha Sapanta. When we follow in the footsteps of the great Mahajans, of the great Vaishnava Acharyas, then we will be able to understand, or we should rather follow in their footsteps. So Narottam Das Thakur says in this bhajan, sorry, I don't have any instruments with me. Generally, at least I have a kartal or a harmonium. But, it's the bhav that is important. So we all can sing together. But please be muted. So I will start with the first line. Eai Baar Karuna Karo Vaishnava Gosai Patita Pavana Toma Vine ke hona. Eai Baar Karuna Karo Vaishnava Gosai Patita Pavana Toma Vina ke hona. Jahar nikate gele Papa dure jai. Emon doyal Prabhu keba kotha pai. Eai Baar Karuna Karo Vaishnava Gosai. Gangara Parasha Hoile Paschate Pavan Darshane Pavitra Koro Ei Tomar Gun. Eai Baar Karuna Karo Vaishnava Gosai. Haristhane aparadhe Kare Harinam. Tomastane aparadhe Nahi paritran. Eai Baar Karuna Karo Vaishnava Gosai. Prati janme kori asha charane radhuli. Narottame koro doya apnar boli. Eai Baar Karuna Karo Vaishnava Gosai. Prati janme kori asha charane radhuli. Narottame koro daya apnar boli. Prati janme kori asha charane radhuli. E adhame koro daya apnar boli. Dayal Vaishnava Thakur, Dayal Vaishnava Thakur, Dayal Vaishnava Thakur, Dayal Vaishnava Thakur. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. आराध्य भगवान व्रजेश तनयस्तत्थाम वृंदावनम रम्या काचिदुपासना व्रजवधवर्गेण तया कल्पिता श्रीमद् भागवत पुराणमलं प्रेम पुमार्थो महान् श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभोर्मत इदं नायत्र आग्रह परा नवनीरद निंदित कांतिधरम रसोसागर नागर भूपवरम शुभवंकिमचारु शिखंड शिखिम भज कृष्ण निधिम व्रजराज सुतम आजानुलंबित भुजौ कनकायवधातो संकीर्तनै पितरवो कमलायताक्षो विश्वंभरो द्विजवरो युगधर्मपालो वंदे जगत प्रिय करो करुणावतारो राधिका सरोदइंदु निंदिमुख मंडली वंदिये श्रीपाद पद्म वृषभानुनंदिनी वंदिये श्रीपाद पद्म वृषभानुनंदिनी वंदिये श्रीपाद पद्म वृषभानुनंदिनी वंदिये श्रीपाद पद्म वृषभानुनंदिनी संसार दावानललितलोका त्रिणाय कारुण्य घनाघनात्वं प्राप्तस्य कल्याण गुणार्णवास्य वंदे गुरो श्री चरणारविंदम यस्य प्रसादात् भगवत् प्रसादो यस्य अप्रसादात् न गति कुतोऽपि दयांस्तु वांस्तस्य यस्य स्त्री संध्यां वंदे गुरोः श्री चरणारविंदम. Hare Krishna. So, as I mentioned, this is a very, very ecstatic song. Many a times I tell myself first and to the audience that we have to learn how to pray. Many times we stand, or when we offer dandavats to His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada or to the Acharya Varga, the Guru Varga, or in front of the deities when we are offering our obeisances, what are we really saying? Most of us mechanically, we simply say Prabhupada's pranam mantra, and when we say the Maha Mantra, Namam Vishwada Krishna Vishta Budra Shivada Bhakti Hare Krishna Ram Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nitya. So that is naturally, it just comes because all these years, that's what, and it's a good, of course, the Maha Mantra contains everything, but what is our consciousness? That is also very important. Quality is very important. So to learn how to pray, we have to learn from the perfect personalities, the perfect prayers. So that is the reason we should learn the prayers of the Vaishnava Acharyas, the Vaishnava songs that they have composed, because they are pure, they are perfect, and their prayers are perfect. So just like a child, in our home, we find a baby, we teach them many things, how to repeat the ABCDs, the numbers, the shlokas, etc. And the baby simply repeats after the parents or after the grandparents or somebody who has been coaching them, teaching them, perhaps a teacher. So similarly, the most perfect teachers are our Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas. They are teaching us Vijnanam. Vijnan is a very common word that is being used in many vernacular languages, because Sanskrit is the mother of all languages. We find that in India, we have so many different languages, and this word is quite often used. But most of us know, or Vijnan is introduced to us as a science, which is true. When we go to school, when they say it is a classes Vijnan subject, so it is physics, chemistry, biology, etc. But Vijnan in Sanskrit basically has a primary meaning, which means if you, it is a composition of two words, Vishesh Gyan iti Vijnan. Vishesh means topmost, very special, and Gyan means knowledge. So what is that Vishesh Gyan? Vishesh Gyan is not what we study in school, where we are taught physics, chemistry, biology, the medical sciences. No, that is some Gyan, no doubt. But Vishesh Gyan is the science of the spiritual self-realization. That is Vishesh Gyan. I am not this body, I am a spirit soul, and I am an eternal servant of Krishna. And Krishna means, we are talking about Krishna according to our Gaudiya Vaishnavas, eternal servant of Krishna in Vraj. And Vraj means all the intimate associates of Krishna. As the word Hara indicates in the Mahamantra Hare, when we are addressing. So Mahaprabhu says, Namna Makari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis. This is a very, very important word and emphasis on the word Nija. Nija is the second verse of the Chaitanya Sistastakam. So what is Nija? Nija means my own. Nija means my own intimate associates. I have invested all their names and my name in the holy names. So that Nija, the word Hara, most of us have understood in a very simple way that it denotes Srimati Radharani. Yes, of course it does. But the word Hara means Nija Sarva Shaktis, all the internal potencies. And when Mahaprabhu is speaking, it means it is Radha Govinda. Because Mahaprabhu is Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. He is Radha Krishna Eka Tanu Hai Nidhuvan Maje Vamsi Bajaye. So in Nidhuvan, in Vrindavan, especially when there's wonderful pastimes in different Nikunjas, that happens. So there, Radha and Krishna. So when Radha and Krishna combine, they become Mahaprabhu. So it is basically pure Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy. This is not the Krishna who spoke Bhagavad Gita. This is not the Krishna of Meera. This is not the Krishna of Mathura. This is the Krishna of Sri Vrindavan Dham, which this is the famous prayer that I always like to repeat before I start my classes with Srila Prabhupada. Very often, I believe it was one of his favorite shlokas, Aradhya Bhagwan Vrajesh Tanayas. If you want to worship Bhagwan, there are many types of Bhagwan. There is Lord Narayanas, many Narayanas in Vaikuntha. There is so many different forms of the Lord. Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, Ananta Rupam. The Supreme Lord, there are so many Bhagwans. Lord Narsinghadev, Vamandev, Madhusudan. Like we find so many different avatars of the Lord. But here the Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharya is advising us, if you want to worship Bhagwan, which Bhagwan you should worship? Aradhya Bhagwan Vrajesh Tanayas. Vrajesh. Vraj means Vraj Dham. Vrindavan, not only Vrindavan, but all the entire Chaurasi coast, the 84, the entire Vraj Mandal. Vrajesha. Esh means king or master or controller. So who is Vrajesh? Vrajesh is Nanda Maharaj. And Tanaya means the son of Nanda Maharaj. So out of the many different forms of the Lord, if you want to worship, my recommendation is to worship, the Vaishnava Acharya is saying, worship the son of Nanda Maharaj. Aradhya Bhagwana Vrajesha Tanayas Tad Dham Vrindavanam. And among so many different places of pilgrimage or dham, the best dham to worship is Sri Vrindavan. Of course, all dhams are perfect, but the bhav is Mahaprabhu's bhav. The bhav is Gaudiya Vaishnava bhav. Tad dham Vrindavanam. And Ramya Kachid Upasna Vrajavadhu Vargena Taya Kalpita. And if you want to worship or in the mood of seva, then it should be like the Vrajavadhu Vargena. Vrajavadhu Vargena means, Vrajavadhu means gopis. Vadhu, in most languages we understand, means to increase. So the root word in Sanskrit, Vadhu, means one who increases. That means these are married gopis. Because a woman can expand herself through children, right? We all understand. A man cannot do it. So Vrajavadhu. See how this is Sanskrit, so beautiful. And the Acharyas, when they compose, it's so amazing. So if one wants to have the Seva Bhav or the Bhakti Bhav, Ramya Kachit Upasna, that Upasna, that kind of deep bhakti, then the examples are the Vrajavadhus, the gopis of Vrindavan. Of course, the subject matter is glorifying the Acharyas, but along with that, because who are our Acharyas? Our Acharyas are none other than the Saivites, the Sevikas of the gopis of Raj. They are Manjaris. And Narottam Das Thakur is Vilas Manjari. Actually, he is one of the Manjaris whose perfect seva is to heat up the milk for Radha and Krishna and put some aromatic substances, samagris inside the milk like kesar, saffron, some camphor, and so many different items based on the seasons and the time of the day. That is the service of Narottam, eternal service of this Manjari, known as Narottam Das Thakur, to heat up milk. One quick pastimes comes, because when we glorify Vaishnava Acharyas, whenever something comes in our heart, we should immediately share it with others. Narottam Das Thakur was in Vrindavan at that time while chanting the Mahamantra. Excuse me. Sri Radhe. While he was chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That is what we have to learn. Dharmasya tatta nihitam guhyam mahajana jena gatha sapanta. Following in the footsteps of the great Acharyas, how should we chant the holy name? So when we are chanting the holy name, we all have this complaint, don't we? And we have heard this from many people that, our mind is getting distracted. We cannot chant the Mahamantra, continuously and nicely with ekagraha, with one-pointed attention. So the reason is because we don't follow in the footsteps of the Mahajan. We have to try. And trying means, supposing if we are chanting the holy names, sit in a nice, quiet place. And when we are chanting, try to chant our 16 good rounds, Prabhupada said. Not just 16 rounds, but 16 good rounds. This is the very important word, 16 good rounds. Minimum 16 good rounds. And when we are chanting these good rounds, what happens, we should not get distracted. We should close our eyes as much as possible. And what the best way is to think of some Leela, either from Srimad Bhagavatam as an example. And when we are absorbed in chanting the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, we will never get distracted. Initially, it can happen, but once we get into that practice. So Narottam Das Thakur was meditating on his service, on the Leela of Radha and Krishna, in one of the Nikunjas, in the bowers of Vrindavan, where he was heating up milk on a stove. And at that time, suddenly, while Radha and Krishna were not too far, he heard some laughter. And he was so absorbed in the that is what our Acharyas always do. In the Mangalarti, we sing verse number 5. What is that? Verse, Shri Radhika Madhavyo Rapara Madhurya Leela Guna Rupa Namnam. Madhurya Leela Guna Rupa Namnam. Prati Shana Swadana Lolupasya Vande Guru Shri Charna Ravindam. Every moment the Vaishnava Acharya, Prati Shana, Aswadan means to relish very deeply. Prati Shana Swadana Lolupasya, and with great greed. So greed is required. Greed is a bad thing, but when it is used in Krishna's service, when it is used for Krishna consciousness, it is the topmost use of greed. Rupa Goswami in the Padyavali says that he asked a question that how can we obtain pure bhakti? So the way to obtain pure bhakti is eko mulyam. There's only one price for pure bhakti, eko mulyam. And what is that? The eko mulyam, greed. Eko mulyam api lolyam. Certainly only lolyam. Lolyam means greed. So we should be very greedy when it comes to Krishna consciousness. In serving, more service, more chanting, more association, prati shan, more relishing, aswadan. We have to relish, following in the footsteps of the Acharyas. So Narottam Das Thakur was relishing the pastimes between Radha and Krishna, and suddenly the milk overflowed. And with his bare hands, he didn't want the milk to be wasted, because milk is a Vaishnava also. Those who have joined us in the Kartik, last Kartik, we did 8 weeks on the Damodar Ashtakam. And prior to that, every year, we have been blessed. 4 years ago, continuously for 2 years, we did this Damodar Ashtakam in the Krishna Balram Mandir in Kartik, the seminar on. So we speak from Sanatan Goswami's realizations from the Digdarshini on the Damodar Ashtakam. And in that, it is mentioned that the greed of Satyavrat Muni leads from Vatsalya Ras all the way to Madhurya Rasa. Yes, most of us don't know this. And that is why it is important to follow in the footsteps of the Acharyas. But if Satyavrat Muni had not obtained that greed, and if he was stagnant, when he says in the 4th verse, what does he say? The idam te vapurnatham gopala balam sadame manasi avirashtam ki manye. My only desire is I do not desire any liberation in Vaikuntha, nor I desire the bhakti of Vaikuntha. Varam deva moksham na moksham of dimva nacha vrineyaham vara ishada piha. I do not desire all these things, O giver of benediction, O Krishna. So then Krishna is in a subtle conversation where Satyavrat Muni is asking, what do you need? So Satyavrat Muni is saying, Idam te vapurnatham gopala balam. What I just saw right now in front of my eyes, that Mother Yashoda binding you with great love and sweet pastimes of your, in Gokul, of the childhood pastime. Idam te vapurnatham gopala balam. Gopal. Balam. Balam means the childhood pastimes. Let this always manifest in my heart. Let it always, that is the request I have. So Krishna gives it to him. Then in the 5th, 6th verse, suddenly that greed arises when he says, in the 5th verse, when Satyavrat Muni in his composition, he says that, what is the 5th verse? In the 5th verse, he says that the kisses of the Gopya, Muschumbitam bimba rakta adharam me. Muschumbitam bimba rakta adharam me. When the Gopya, the word Gopya is being used, so that Gopya indicates Mother Yashoda, that is true. But also the word Gopya indicates the gopis of Vrindavan. This is the explanation by the Acharyas. So Satyavrat Muni gets a little glimpse of the Madhurya Rasa when the gopis are kissing Krishna. So when that greed arises in him, and then at the end, he prays to Radharani, Namo Radhikaya Tvadiya Priyaya, Namo Ananta Leelaya Devaya Tubhyam. So Radharani is Raseshwari. She is the one who can give entrance into the Madhurya Rasa, especially in Vraj. So that is why he prays, and then he finally obtains that Madhurya Rasa. And that is one of the reasons why our Gaudiya Vaishnavas sing this song in Kartik, especially. Because from the external understanding or from the surface, we find that Satyavrat Muni is attracted to the Gopal pastimes, Gopal Bal pastimes of, of Krishna in Vrindavan, which is true. But because it has got the ultimate known as Prayojana, there are 3, we can say, stages of bhakti. First stage is known as the first stage is known as Sambandha. When we establish a relationship, without relationship, how can you even love somebody? Even in our common life, we find that when a boy and a girl, even in a arranged marriage situation, there is a certain period that they meet before the engagement, after the engagement, and then they know the sweetness of each other, and then they want to tie the knot. They tell their respective parents that yes, he's a very nice boy. The girl will tell, or the boy will say to his parents, yes, I like her very much. You know, she's a very nice girl, and I'm ready to move ahead by getting married to this girl, and vice versa. So that inner sweetness, it comes out. So that's Sambandha. So first, Sambandha is obtained by the mercy of the Acharyas and by the deity Govind Devji. There are 7 principal deities in Sri Vrindavan Dham, but there are 3 principal Gaudiya Vaishnava deities. Madan Mohanji. So Madan Mohanji is the deity to establish that Sambandha. If we have not established a true Sambandha with Krishna, we pray to Sanatan Goswami's deities Madan Mohanji. And that Sambandha is established through the sadhana process. When we chant here, when we, all these processes that His Divine Krishna Prabhupada has given us, that will establish a Sambandha. Along with Abhidya. Abhidya will be the process. A process means continuous process of Krishna consciousness, reading, chanting, Sravanam, Smaranam, Kirtanam, etc. And then in that process, we can pray in particularly to Rup Goswami's deities, Govind Devji. Govind Devji is very helpful for that sadhak to make his sadhana very strong. From Nam Aparat stage, we can come to Nam Abhas stage by his mercy, by Govind Devji's mercy. And then when that is done, we enter into Shuddha Nam. By the mercy of Govinda Devji, we get pure bhakti. And then we get our final goal, which is Krishna Prem, which is known as Prayojan. And the deity of Prayojan is Madhu Pandit's deity, Gopinathji. So this Madan Mohan, Govindevji and Gopinath. These three deities. That is why we sing the song Jayo Radhe, Jayo Krishna, Jayo Vrindavan, Shri Govinda Gopinath, Madana Mohan. So Din Krishnadas has mentioned these three. That is the Gaudiya Bhav. So here pray, and then when we attain our prayojan, attaining prayojan means we enter into the eternal pastimes of Radha and Krishna, even while sitting here. Like Narottam Das Thakur was chanting and he was meditating on his service of heating of milk. So when the milk overflowed, he took his bare hands and he put the milk pot on the floor, and then he started mixing, but his fingers got burnt. So when he came out of his meditation on the Mahamantra, some senior Vaishnavas saw that his fingers were burnt. This is right here, not even in Golok Vrindavan. Of course, Vrindavan and Golok Vrindavan are non-different. So then to the higher Vaishnavas, to the advanced Vaishnavas, to the senior Vaishnavas, we can share our hearts. That's one of the things of the 6 associations that we ask for. We should reveal our hearts to senior Vaishnavas, not to everyone. Sometimes we find there are some sphurtis. What is a sphurti? Sphurti can be a vision, a feeling, a very transcendental feeling that can just erupt within our hearts while either we are chanting. Krishna is very, very kind to us. Sometimes he gives us that sphurti. Like he gave sphurti to Naradji. How did Naradji become Narad? When Naradji, Naradji's mother passed away, this was mentioned in the first canto, chapter numbers 5, 6, 7. And Naradji is mentioning about him, how he became Narad to Vyasadeva. So he had no attraction with other kids, like playing with other children or any other attractions that most little children have. Right from the beginning of his childhood, he was very serious. He was very, very much attracted to Krishna consciousness. So then he mentions that, the only thing that I had, my attachment was my mother, because we don't even know who the father of Naradji is. It is not mentioned. So one morning, Naradji says that while my mother went into the fields, one snake bit her. And that was it. And she left her body. And that was my only attachment. And then that attachment also, Krishna is so kind that he took away. See, this is how Naradji was thinking when he was only a 5-year-old boy. Can you imagine a 5-year-old boy? What a level of consciousness this was. And that is why he's Narad. Then he went into the forest. And at that time, he got a sphurti. Krishna gave him darshan. And within a split second, he disappeared. Now that hankering, Krishna disappeared. And in search of Krishna, Narad became Narad. That hankering is required, the deep hankering. That is why we Gaudiya Vaishnavas, our specialty amongst all other bona fide sampradayas is Vipralamba Bhav. Vipralamba Bhav means service in separation. Serving wherever we are. Swargeshu, Nargeshu, Apavargeshu, Samatulya Darshana. The pure Vaishnava looks whether one gets opportunity to go into the heavenly planets, Swargeshu, Narkeshu, even if they have to go to hell, into the hellish planets. Apavargeshu, Apavarga means Vaikuntha, the spiritual planets. Samatulya Darshana. For them, they are equal. So none of our Vaishnava Acharyas have said, I would like to go on back to Godhead. No, we will come in these prayers. We will enter into the deep mood of Narottam Das Thakur, of these particular prayers, that we will try to the best of our ability, share the nuances. So Narottam Das Thakur explained that, I was, and then there's this, because they are all eternal associates of Radha Krishna. So they understood, you are heating that milk up, and you quickly, so then even while he was present in Vrindavan, his fingers were burnt at that time, and there were blisters on his fingertips due to this reason. So we find so many such, that is the reason we should think on some Krishna Leela, some Leela, whatever we know, whatever we've read when we're chanting the holy names, and our chanting will be perfected day by day by day, and we will not get distracted. So Narottam Das Thakur is teaching us how to pray. He's saying, Eai Baar Karuna Karo Vaishnava Gosai, Patita Pavan Toma Vina Ke Hunai. Eai Baar Karuna Karo. Eai Baar means this time. O Vaishnava Acharya, Vaishnava Gosai. This time have mercy on me. So what does this mean this time? So this time means it means basically there is a clear indication that I have come back again and again and again and again in this world, in this material world, taking different births in the 8,400,000 species of life, but this time have mercy on me. Oh, Vaishnava Gosai. The word Gosai means, go means senses, Indriya. And Sai is a Vrindavan word for Swami. So we have to become masters of our senses. It's very difficult. No matter, only with Kripa it will come. And sincere sadhana and the Kripa, when we enter into Raganuga Bhakti, at that time, our senses should be fully controlled. Right now, we love Krishna, but we love this. There is a big B-U-T, but Krishna. So, I'm talking about myself, what to talk about others, So sense gratification is there, what to say. But when we become from Godas, Go means senses. Right now we are Godas. The senses are saying, give me this. And we immediately fall, we succumb, we become victims to the senses. And we fall, and we immediately. Most people, even in many Vaishnava communities, we see that they drink tea and coffee, etc. It's a mild intoxication, but they can say that, oh, we cannot even wake up properly. I get a headache if I don't take my first cup of tea. So this is Godas, right? Many people, even more intense, they must drink they must chew their tobacco, or they must drink their liquor. Otherwise, they cannot survive. Their daily routine is like that. Come every evening, they have to sit with friends and open some bottles of beer or whatever, or wine, or even the so-called Sattvic people in the West, those who don't even drink, they have to open a bottle of wine while they have their dinner, right? Because without wine, there is no fun in dinner. So this is Godas. That is the reason why Srila Prabhupada is Divine Grace. If we want to really progress in our spiritual life, he says, chant minimum 16 good rounds, but plus follow the 4 regulative principles. No meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, and no illicit sex. These 4. So Prabhupada was a man who followed the parampara to the T. Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. It is not that he just was whimsical. So many spiritualists, they have come to the West, and even in India, they don't lay stress on this, on these 4 regulative principles of freedom. Prabhupada called them. These are the regulative principles of freedom. Why? Because it will give you eternal freedom eventually in the eternal pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Striyam dutam panam shunam yatra dharma chaturvida. This is Shastra. Prabhupada has spoken from Shastra as it is. Striyam, illicit sex. Dutam, gambling. Panam means intoxication. And that includes tea, coffee to drugs. The entire range. And Striyam, Shunam, Striyam, Dutam, Panam, Shunam. And Shunam means meat eating. Yatra, these, Adharma, they are against spirituality. They are against Krishna consciousness. Chaturvida, these 4. So, this is very important. Why Prabhupada is always initiating? Why at the time of initiation, why our gurus are asking, what is the vow that you will be taking? So, we have to be very sincere if we want to really progress in our spiritual life. So even in the Shastra, so Narottam Das Thakur is saying, Eai Baar Karuna Karo Vaishnava Gosai. This time, please have mercy on me, oh Vaishnava Gosai, because I've gone through so many different species of life, and now I've got this human form of life. Please have mercy on me. That is one of the first, I would say the second Vedanta Sutra, Athato Brahma Jigyasa. After Janmadiyasya, Athato Brahma Jigyasa is the second Vedanta Sutra. In the second Vedanta Sutra, it is said that Athato, therefore, Brahma Jigyasa. Brahma Jigyasa means one must inquire about spirituality. Therefore, one must inquire. So this is an acronym or a short form, just like Vedvyasa has given Vedanta Sutras. Sutras are short acronyms. So Vedanta means what? Vedas. Anta, conclusion. The conclusion of all the Vedas, he has put it and summarized it in Vedanta Sutras in the form of acronyms, in the form of sutras. So the very second sutra is Athato Brahma Jigyasa. It is an incomplete sentence, a very small acronym, Athato, therefore. So what does it mean? Therefore means what? Because birth after birth, now I have got the birth of a human being. Therefore, I must inquire about, therefore I must become Krishna consciousness. Therefore, I must inquire about the self, about the super self, about bhakti. Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Same thing. Eai Baar Karuna Karo Vaishnava Gosai. Patita Pavana. Toma vine ke honai. There's nobody as merciful as you. It is so true. Krishna's mercy comes in different packages. So Krishna's mercy comes in as how does Krishna's mercy come? So Krishna's mercy, we can say Kripa Leela. That is known as Kripa Leela. There is Srishti Leela. Srishti Leela means when Krishna creates the entire creation. There is Kripa Leela also. The Kripa Leela means when Krishna himself comes in the form of Shastra. So Srimad Bhagavata, Krishna Parivartate. Srimad Bhagavatam is none other than Sri Krishna. Bhagavad Gita is none other than Krishna, because the words of Krishna and Krishna are non-different in the form of Shastra. Krishna comes and he comes in the form of the deities. That is his Kripa Leela. He stands there for years and years and years, hundreds of years, just to give darshan to his devotees. That is the mercy of Krishna. Kripa Leela of Krishna is when he is traveling through our entire journey since time immemorial as Paramatma. He is Surat Sarva Bhutana. We find that wonderful verse in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhuktaram Sarva Yagya Tapasyam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram Surat Sarva Bhutanam Gyatva Mam Shanti Richati. Krishna himself is declaring in the Bhagavad Gita, if one wants 100% true peace, then one has to understand that I am the supreme enjoyer. Bhuktaram Sarva Yagya Tapasyam. All yagyas, all sacrifices. Yagya Tapasyam. And including the Mahamantra. Mahamantra is Sankirtan Yagya. So Krishna is the actual supreme enjoyer of the Mahamantra. When we chant the Mahamantra, Krishna gets a deep pleasure. This is very higher point that I'm making based on what I had learned from the senior Vaishnavas and from the Acharyas. So how is so? One cannot. So that is the secret is in the first verse of the Chaitanya Sistastakam. Now, what is that first verse? Cheto Darpana Marjanam Bhava Mahadava Agni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidya Vadu Jivanam Ananda Ambudhi Vardhanam. That increases the bliss when we are chanting the holy names. Now, Ananda Ambudhi Vardhanam, one can, but the general translation is that increases the bliss of the devotee. But that's just not true. It also increases the bliss of Radha and Krishna. Ananda Ambudhi Vardhanam. Pratipada Purna Amrit Swadanam. Every moment the devotees relishing the Mahamantra and also Radha and Krishna are relishing. Pratipada Purna Amrit. Purna Amrit has a double meaning. Amrit means nectar. And who is the ultimate nectar? Who is Purna Amrit? Purna Amrit means not Krishna. No. Because Krishna is not Purna without Radharani. So Purna Amrit means Radha Krishna. So these are some of the very, very important things. Sometimes we have to just catch them and lock them in our hearts. So when we are chanting the holy names, so Purna Amrita Swadanam, that Purna Amrit Swadanam means that relishing of that Purna Amrit. So it is just not the devotee is relishing that, but also because the Mahamantra consists of the glorification of not only Radha and Krishna, but also the other devotees that are Nija Sarva Saktis. The gopis, the manjaris, they're all present in the word Hara. Sarva Atma Snapannam. Who is Sarva Atma means? Krishna. One who is present in everybody's is Sarva. Sarva Atma. One who is present. Snapannam. We are bathing him. Or one can say in the simple meaning is bathing ourselves by cleansing ourselves through the holy name. So that's one meaning. But the other deeper meaning of Sarva Atma Snapannam means that when we have reached that stage of Rajavadhu, that Raj Bhav, we are constantly just like the gopis of Vrindavan, bathing Radha and Krishna with so much love, with so much service, so much bhakti. Sarva Atma Snapannam. Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. That is what Sri Krishna Sankirtan. Sri means Radharani, Krishna means Krishna of Vrindavan. Param Vijayate. It will give us the highest victory. And what is that highest victory? Service to Radha and Krishna and his associates in Braj. Param Vijayate Sri, amongst so many different victories, the highest Param Vijayate. This is Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Charitamrita, last chapter 20, in the Antya Leela, Chaitanya Sistastakam, it just, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is compared to a golden volcano of divine love. He's a golden volcano of divine love. And just Chaitanya Sistastakam, when the volcano erupts, what happens? There's lava that flows. And the Chaitanya Sistastakam was the flowing of the lava from the lotus lips of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So these are the things. So, Eai Baar Karuna Karo Vaishnava Gosai, Patita Pavana, Toma Vina Ke Honai. There's no more mercy. So Krishna's Kripa Leela is in these forms, as I had mentioned, in different ways, as the DD form, as the Shastra, but the topmost Krishna's form of mercy is through the Acharyas, through the pure Vaishnavas. We sing that every day in the Mangalarti. Yasya prasadat bhagavad prasado, yasya aprasadat na gati gatopi, dayans tuvans yasyastri sandhyam, vande guru Sri Chandaravindam. So this is very important. When we sing these prayers, especially the last verse, yasya prasadat, oh Prabhupada, oh your divine graces, all these acharyas, yasya prasadat, your mercy, bhagavad prasada. It is the mercy of Krishna. Yasya aprasadat. So again, I have said this before, some of the devotees who have heard me. It is not yasya prasadat bhagavad prasada, yasya prasadat nagati. So that would kind of be contrary, because by your mercy we get Krishna's mercy, and by yasya prasadat bhagavad, yasya prasadat nagati kutobi, and by your mercy we cannot advance, because there's a mispronunciation. Yasya aprasada. It is aprasada, the opposite of not getting mercy. So just to make a note, we all make these mistakes. But once we know, we should try to pronounce the Sanskrit prayers properly. Yasya prasadat bhagavad prasado. The mercy of the Acharya is the mercy of Krishna. Yasya aprasadan. If your mercy is not there, na gati kutopi, then there is no advancement. I will be completely lost. No gati. Gati means advancement. How is it possible to get advancement without your mercy? So Patita Pavana Toma Vine Ke Honai. Patita Pavan, we know Srila Prabhupada, at that advanced stage, he left Vrindavan Dham. Most of us are always dreaming that when will all my activities cease, my job, my business, all these things will cease, and I will be able to buy a place in Vrindavan and live the rest of my life and die in Vrindavan, right? Is it not that the ultimate dream of the devotees? It's true, but somebody who was already in Vrindavan, he left Vrindavan. That is Patita Pavana Toma Vina Ke Honai. Went through so many trials and tribulations. Sat 1 month in Bombay on the footsteps of the Scindia Shipping Corporation, trying to just meet the CEO, Mrs. Sumati Murarji, that one day she will pass and I will ask her that I have to go to the US. You have so many ships going to the US. My Guru Maharaj had instructed me back in 1922, if you get money, print books and preach this message of Bhagavatvani, of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the English-speaking world. And now at this advanced age, I'm thinking I've not fulfilled the desire of my Guru Maharaj. So he sat there like a beggar on the steps of the big shipping corporation. And one day Mrs. Sumati Maraji appeared and he says, yes. And she saw a sadhu. And then the rest is history, that he was given a passage after quite some convincing. Mrs. Sumati Maraji said that, no, you are a very old man. And these are cargo ships. These are not passenger lines. The seas are very rough. It is not this journey is not for you. And Prabhupada said, no, you are a Vaishnavi. Mrs. Sumati Maraji was from the Pushtimarg Sampradaya, following Sri Vallabhacharya. So on the Guru, the Agya of Guru is very important. Of course, Agya of Guru means a Sadguru, not any Guru. Nowadays, we find that we have gurus dozens by the time by the dozens. So following their Agya will not get us anywhere. Sometimes one can even give up a Guru. Yes. For example, we find that who gave up Guru? Bali Maharaj. Shukracharya was his Guru, but Bali Maharaj gave him up because he was giving the wrong advice. He was not giving proper Krishna. Here, Vamandev, who is none other than Vishnu himself, and Shukracharya says that he has come as a dwarf Brahmin to cheat you. He is Vishnu. So finished. So Shukracharya knows he is Vishnu, and in spite of that, he's saying, don't give him what he wants. So Bali Maharaj, the grandson of Prahlad Maharaj, although he was a Daitya, yeah, he was born in the demon family, but he had those sanskaras. Somehow or the other, he was saved. He says, no, you're not my guru if you're advising me like this. In our Gaudiya Sampradaya, I don't know how many of you all know, Thakur Bhakti Vinod gave up his initiating spiritual master because the initiating spiritual master disagreed on the position of the 6 Goswamis. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur is one of them as a Manjari Sevite of Rupa Manjari. How can he do that? When the initiating spiritual master one day, Bhaktivinoda Thakur took Bimla Prasad, little Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And when he went, he bowed down to his guru, his Diksha Guru. And what his Diksha Guru did is put his feet on his head. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, after left, he didn't say anything. He left. And then, but Bimla Prasad, he stayed back for a couple minutes. And he told, do you know what you have just done? Do you know who he is? My Baba, my father. Do you know? How dare you put your feet on my father's head? So sometimes we find some spiritual people who are guiding us. So we can accept what is good. But if they are not following truly Srila Prabhupada, then we must reject them. Yes, then it doesn't matter who it is, whether that person could be a temple president or could be a GBC or whoever. Prabhupada said GBC is ultimate authority, no doubt. But what does it mean? If that GBC is in good standing, it is needless to say, right? For example, if my father says that he is the best son in the world, that means I'm doing something right. But at the same time, if I'm not doing something right, then my father has the right to disown me by saying that, no, he's a donkey. You're a gada if one behaves like that. So, of course, GBC is the ultimate authority. Prabhupada said that. But obviously, it means that if they're in good standing, if they're falling down and if they're not following Prabhupada, then they're not in good standing. I'm saying it's a general statement. I'm not pointing out to any particular gurus or anything. But my job when sitting on the Vyasasan is to speak as it is. So that is very important. If any Siksha Guru or any Diksha Guru or any Path Pracharan Guru, if they are not following Prabhupada, we can offer them obeisances. No doubt. Everybody's got Paramatma in their heart and they are chanting the holy name. So they are Vaishnavas. But that does not mean that we need to take guidance from them. Very important. Otherwise, we will be misguided. Nowadays, there's so much dilution that is going on in our movement. That is not acceptable. Srila Prabhupada, His Divine Grace, will never be happy. Changing Prabhupada's books and different methods, changing not greeting each other Hare Krishna when going out in public, trying to tell people that this is a book on yoga. Prabhupada never went with all those things. Krishna, very simple. There's a book on Krishna. It teaches us bhakti yoga. Those who are book distributors, they should use that and they should know what is in the books. Let us not make it a corporate environment where there is some kind of a, some kind of a competition, like salespeople when they are competing in the mundane world to get their results, to show their bosses. No, our bosses is Divine Krishna Prabhupada. Not even my own guru is as pure as him. That thing that I have to admit, I have to understand, we all have our limitations. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that we have to give respect to all the Vaishnavas according to the realization. But sometimes we don't even realize. There is a saying in Hindi, Andheri Nagri mein Kano Raja, take ser bhaji, take ser khaja. Meaning, for those who don't understand Hindi, in a country where the king is blind, Andheri Nagri mein Kano Raja, where there is no law, take ser bhaji. Taka is a very small fraction of a paisa, or we can say cent. So bhaji means the common vegetable. So it is 1 taka. How much is it? You ask the vegetable vendor, 1 taka. And khaja. Khaja is made from pure ghee. Lord Jagannath is served khaja with pure ghee. And there are different forms of khaja. So that is very expensive. Today, if you buy pure khaja somewhere, it will probably cost about, at least I would say, 1,000 rupees a kg. Something like that. If it is pure in pure ghee, with pure kesar, with pure saffron and so many things. But in a country where there is lawless and when the king is blind, it's the same. Take ser bhaji, take ser khaja. A fraction of a cent for the simple vegetable and also a fraction of a cent for Khaja. So how is it possible? Our Prabhupada is Khaja, he's not Bhaji. We cannot compare him. Our Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Prabhupada, we cannot compare him with any of our gurus or any of our guides who are guided. We offer respects, but never. We become very, very fanatical. We become a pure guru, or at least an honest guru will tell you. At least my Guru Maharaj used to say that, the least I can do, the best I can do is I can take you to Prabhupada, but I cannot take you to Radha Krishna. He used to say that, His Holiness Nitya Lila Pravishta Bhakti Charu Swami. So these are a real guru will accept, or at least an honest guru will accept his limitations and never compare himself. It is sometimes people like us who put them on a very high pedestal and we equate them with Prabhupada. Then that is an offense. That is an offense. There are many of us who, when we join the movement, we become so sentimental. And that is what is important to read Srila Prabhupada's books. That is what is lacking. We want to distribute. We want to make our authorities happy by distributing Prabhupada. But Prabhupada said, I heard a lecture recently when I was in New Vrindavan. Prabhupada's lecture was on Tuesday, video. And I think it was this verse, Namo Pankaja Nabhaya, Namo Pankaja Maline, Namo Pankaja Netra, Namaste Pankajangre, Queen Kunti's prayers. And if you read that one of the lectures, I think 1968, Los Angeles, if I'm not mistaken, I'm getting old, my memory is a little bit. But Prabhupada said that, yes, it is good to distribute my books, but all of you should read my books. Prabhupada's instructions are very clear. So that is the meaning of actually following. Prabhupada said that those who follow my instructions are my disciples. Just by taking initiation, one doesn't become disciple. This is also very important. Very pure instructions. So who said that our movement is full of just rasgullas and gulab jamuns? No, there is bitter medicine also. We must accept it. That is why Srila Prabhupada has given for our own. A loving mother or a loving father or a loving doctor will give us a bitter medicine also for our own wellness, for our own bodily well-being. And this is our spiritual well-being. We cannot play around with that. So, Patita Pavana Tomavina Keho Nain, Jahara Nikate Gele, Papa Dure Jai. Just by coming close to you, all the different sins are eradicated. Amona Dayala Prabhu Keva Kotabai, there's nobody as merciful as you. That is Prabhupada. When he came to New York, 26th 2nd Avenue, small place, all the hippies used to come. And the word spread around the block that there's a Swami from India and he makes us high. And the hippies were always experimenting in new drugs. Allen Ginsberg mentions that, the poet. So they all used to flock around and Prabhupada used to chant, speak Bhagavad Gita Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And later on, Prabhupada, introduced the Sunday feast. Prabhupada used to cook himself. He used to cook and he used to make hundreds of rotis himself. And he used to tell all these boys and girls who came, these hippies, you're not eating well, my dear boy, my dear girl, take some more. This is Krishna Prasadam. And some of these hippies who were already high on LSD or on marijuana, they were very hungry. They used to eat 20, 25 rotis and Prabhupada used to constantly serve them personally. And then some of these, after eating, either they would, if they had come with their girlfriend, they would leave, or some of them were so well fed that they would immediately drop down right there and sleep at 26th 2nd Avenue. And Srila Prabhupada would gather all the pots and pans and clean them up. That is a compassionate soul. That is a true Acharya. Today, even if we ask, I'll tell you about my own wife, if 5 people are coming or 50 people are coming, we have kirtan. Sometimes she gets very stressed out. When we used to have a lot of kirtans in our house, she never slept the whole night. All night she was preparing. So much tension. I said, don't worry, everything will be fine. Even I remember my own mother, when we had our uncles come home for Sunday lunches, and there was only 7, 8 people, the family, she used to stress out. Oh, and she used to become so stressed out. Can you imagine making 20 rotis for one person? That is his divine grace. That is Jahara Nikate Gele Papa Dureja Amona Dayala Prabhu Keba Kothapai. Going through all this and Prabhupada's Lilamrit, please read it. Before, along with, if you're reading any other books, please continuously read Srila Prabhupada's Lila Amrit, even if you finish it once. Tava Katha Amritam. It is Amrit, Lila Amrit. This is something that we can learn so many things. Actually, how did I become, Krishna conscious to a certain level? It's because of Prabhupada's Lila Amrit. That was my first book. It was a concise book. Chicago Temple in the 1980s. Free copy. It was free. I was just like a normal Hindu going to the temple, although born in a Vaishnava family. My background is from the Pushti Marg. My grandmother was a very ardent and a very great Vaishnavi. I never understood her. Pure devotee. 9 hours every day, 7 days a week, until the age of 90, she served Krishna. 9 hours continuously, right from 4:30 in the morning till, I would say, approximately more than that, actually, till 2 p.m. And once I came across Srila Prabhupada's movement, that's when I recognized to a certain extent what a pure Vaishnava is. So we have to understand, read Prabhupada's Lila Amrit. It's good. Do your Bhakti Shastri, do your Bhakti Vaibhav. Personally, I don't believe in those courses because it only leads to a mundane competition and a false ego. One who has read Prabhupada's books has already got beyond Bhakti Vaibhav. If even we have absorbed a few slokas, key slokas in our hearts, the certificate is not necessary. The best of the preachers, they never got their Bhakti Vaibhav and Bhakti Shastris. It's okay. One wants to do it. There's nothing wrong. It is still, there is some Bhakti. But Bhakti is a double-edged sword. If our ahankar increases, I'm a scholar and I'm this and I'm that, we see that in our movement. Then we are finished. It is Viprita Bhakti. It is Aparadha. Radha is very humble. Aparadha means opposite of Radha. We commit offenses. So all these things happen. So we try to apply our mundane logic and we bring it into the spiritual domain. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that will never work. That is because that's what we know best. And that's what's happening nowadays. So we have to go back to the basics. Books are the basis. Prabhupada said, read his books. It's okay. Computers, projectors, multimedia presentations. But not every presentation has become like a corporate meeting. Although it is a message. I just sent a message yesterday on the Everyday Chant and some of the groups that I'm involved in. This was meant for senior Vaishnavas. How the dilution is happening in our movement. His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Swami and Jayadvaita Swami have mentioned these things. And they are so true. In the name of book distribution, in the name of prasadam distribution, in the name, we are becoming karmakandis. The pure message of bhakti, neither the devotees who are involved in these activities have that bhava. So how can they give it? For further details, please read that entire message. If you want, I will send it again on Everyday Chant after I finish this katha. It's so true. It's an eye-opener for each one of us. No matter what level we are at, we are all struggling. But let us become good strugglers. Let us become Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtana. Patita Pavana Toma Vine Ke Vanai, Jahar Nikate Gele Papa Dure Jai, Emona Dayala Prabhu Keba Kotha Pai. By simply coming close to you, all my sins are eradicated. Gangara Parasha Hoile Paschate Pavan, Darshane Pavitra Karo Eai Tomar Gun. When one takes a bath in Gangaji, in the holy rivers, then one becomes purified. But Narottam Das Thakur is saying, Darshane Pavitra Karo Eai Tomar Gun. Just by simply looking at a pure Vaishnava Acharya, far more better than having a bath in the Ganga. Darshane Pavitra Karo Eai Tomar Gun. Simply by your audience, simply by your darshan, you purify us. That is what his divine grace was. Simply by his darshan. He made hippies into happies. He made them into Vaishnavas. And that is Mayar through his darshans. And darshan means hearing Srila Prabhupada. How did these thousands and thousands of persons who had lived the most abominable life become Vaishnavas? Darshane Pavitra Karo Eai Tomar Gun. Hari Sthane Aparade Tare Harinam Toma Sthane Aparade Nahi Paritran. Very powerful. Mahaprabhu also mentions this. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami mentions many. If we commit offenses against Hari, against Krishna, Tare Harinam, when we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, then that offense against Bhagavad, Aprad, offense against Krishna will be eradicated. It will be nullified. But Toma sthane aparade nahi paritran. If one commits an offense against the pure Vaishnava, against an Acharya, nahi paritran, there is no recourse. And we have so many examples. One example that immediately comes to my mind is Amrish Maharaj, how Durvasa Muni offended. Krishna says that now, Narayan said, even the Sudarshan Chakra is beyond my control. You go back and offer your obeisances. Please ask for forgiveness to Amrish Maharaj. Then only the Sudarshan Chakra. Even now it's beyond me. Aham bhakta paradhino, Krishna says that I have been purchased by my devotee. Paradhino. Paradhin means I have been, what is that? When victory, when a great king goes out in a battlefield and when he wins, paradhino. So I have been, I have lost to my devotee. In other words, aham bhakta paradhino. My devotee has won me. I have been purchased by my devotee. Jagai Madai. Nityanand Prabhu was struck on his head, bleeding, oozing blood. Mahaprabhu got the news. Mahaprabhu immediately came there and he started invoking the Sudarshan Chakra. Nityanand Prabhu fell down and he said, Mahaprabhu, what are you doing? You are the Prema Avatar. Prema Dhama Eva Naumi Gaura Sundaram. You are the abode of Prema. You promised you will not take any astra. You will not take any kind of weapons, because in every yuga and every avatar, Krishna comes, he always has a weapon. Lord Ramachandra, bow and arrow. Krishna, Sudarshan Chakra. Parshuram, the axe. Like that. Kalki avatar, the sword. They come. Most of the avatars they come with it. But in this avatar, he said he will not. You are prema. But no. There's the Bhagavad. He has offended my devotee, you, Nityananda. They must suffer. But when Nityananda Prabhu begged and begged, even then the Sudarshan Chakra did not stop. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sudarshan Chakra left from Vaikuntha beyond control. Because Sudarshan Chakra, Sudarshan, he is a Vaishnava in the service of Krishna. And he knows what's the best service. Even if Krishna says stop, he's not going to stop, because he knows his service. For somebody who is a blasphemer, who is an offender, what he must do. Then Jagai Madai fell at the feet of Lord Nityananda. Please forgive us, please forgive us. At that time, the Sudarshan Chakra just stopped. Haristane aparade, tare Harinam, Tomastane aparade, nahi paritran. When we commit offenses at your lotus feet, there is no paritran. So, when we do not follow Srila Prabhupada, we are committing an offense at his lotus feet. I don't care who it is. Then we want Krishna Prem. We want this, we want it. It is not a piece of halwa or a cake. Laboriously, his divine grace, hour and a half only he slept. When everybody slept, the whole world slept. Prabhupada painstakingly translated each and every word of so many shastras, 18,000 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. Chaitanya Charitamrita, the epic. So many, over big and small, 100 plus books. Amona Dayala Prabhu Keba Kothapa, where can we find such a divine personality who is so merciful? Tomastane aparadi nahi paritran. Nowadays, in the name of Prabhupada, many people are doing so many wrongful activities. No, that's an offense. Radharani Krishna will never be pleased. We can chant for millions of years. We will still be coming back again and again and again. The only thing is, because of the mercy, we will probably get a human form of life. Prabhupada is very, very intelligent. Jai Bhaje Krishna Sahi Bado Chatur. Chaitanya Charitamrita. He says that if you chant 16 good rounds and follow the 4 regulative principles, you will go back home, back to Godhead. He never said you will go back home, back to Golo. Because Godhead means Vaikuntha also. So if our bhav is Aishwarya, and our bhav doesn't culminate into Vraj Bhakti, there's no way we are ending up into Golok Vrindavan. Yes, we will go beyond the layers of this material world. We will go beyond the 3 modes of material nature simply by chanting the Mahamantra. Because if our consciousness of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is not like the Gaudiya Vaishnavas and it is in the Vaikuntha mood, because this Mahamantra has been existing forever, since time immemorial. It is not just because Mahaprabhu came, the Mahamantra came. Or but Prabhupada came, the Mahamantra came. There's a discussion between Lord Brahma and Naraji in the Kalishantaran Upanishad in some Satya Yuga. Shoda Dasa Akshara Mantram, the 16-letter mantra, Mahamantra. So those who chant that they have got Vaikuntha until Mahaprabhu's mercy. Why? Because Hare means here who is the consciousness of the person. I've explained this before, but this is a very important point, so I repeat that again. Hare means the internal potencies of Krishna, or Krishna means the all attractive. So if our consciousness is of this the personality who spoke Bhagavad Gita, then it is Vaikuntha. It is Dwarkadish Krishna. As an example, when we chant the name, just like I've given this example, in the morning when a son or a daughter calls out at about 7 a.m., Papa, the word is Papa. Papa is upstairs. He's still putting on his tie and he's all rushed, ready to go to work and drop the daughter off to school. So he knows now I'm a little bit past 7 o'clock and it's late and my daughter is calling me. Immediately, just by the name Papa, he already knows. What does he know? That my daughter is waiting at the door. She's ready to leave. I'm a little late just by that. Or I have to drop her to school. Same word is being used in the evening. Papa, at about 8 p.m. at night. That means Papa knows whatever he's doing. He leaves his computer and he goes to the bedroom and puts the daughter to sleep or son to sleep with some nice Bhagavatam stories or some nice, just by the word Papa. The word is the same, but the consciousness is indicated by that word. So Hare Krishna means Mahalakshmi. Who said that that Mahalakshmi is not there? If one is in the mode. So that Hara, that is the reason why the Mahamantra doesn't contain Radhe Krishna, Radhe Radhe, etc. This is very, very amazing. Jiva Goswami has explained this in the Mahamantra Dipika. So we don't hear all these things because most of the speakers, they don't want to take that effort, or those speakers who make that effort, they are told in the temple, Prabhu, keep it simple. Many times I have been told, keep it simple. Most of the people will not understand. It is they who tell us that keep it simple. They will not understand. They are the ones who don't understand or who don't want to understand. Krishna Bhakti Sabdhu Karunai, Shravanadi Chitte Karoye Uday. Krishna Bhakti cannot be obtained from outside by simply hearing Shravan Adi, the process. It is re-manifest in our hearts. Krishna is in everybody's hearts. If we are sincere, we can even understand the highest subject matters of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Why not? So who are we to judge? So we should give. Of course, we should make it simple so that people can understand. But first, learn the inner meaning of the Gaudiya Vaishnava teachings and give it to others. That is what it is, because that is the purest of the purest. So Hare Krishna, Krishna means all attractive. So Narayana in Vaikuntha is very attractive. Lord Ramachandra is very attractive. So it can also mean the deity and Lakshmi of Vaikuntha. And that's what they have been chanting. The Sri Sampradaya devotees have been chanting the Mahamantra, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. The words are the same, but what is our comfort? Our consciousness, the moment we chant Hara, we are actually imploring, begging to the entire parampara who are the Manjaris and the Gopis in the service of Sri Radha. And when we offer our prayers, our begging attitude, it goes all the way in Aroha to Sri Radha, headed by Sri Radha. So the word Hara includes not only Srimati Radharani, who is the head, the Ashta Sakhis, all the Sakhis in Vrindavan, in the Swapaksha, in the camp of Radharani, all the Manjaris, the younger gopis. And the Manjaris are who? Bhakti Siddhanta Sri Thakur is Nayana Manjari. Shri Bhakti Srila Gaur Krishna Babaji Maharaj is an incarnation of Guna Manjari. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ji is an incarnation of Kamla Manjari. Rup Goswami is Rupa Manjari. Sanatan Goswami is Lavanga Manjari. Jiv Goswami is Vilas Manjari. Loknath Goswami is Manjulali Manjari. Krishnaj Kaviraj Goswami is Kasturi Manjari. So the word Hara means automatically Prabhupada is included. Somebody asked Prabhupada, who are you? Prabhupada, what's your eternal position? Prabhupada said, if I tell you, you will faint. Prabhupada kept it a secret. But naturally we know that Prabhupada is one of the Manjaris. Perhaps he's in more than one, definitely he's in more than one Swarupa in Golok Vrindavan. He could also be Krishna's Sakha. But along with that, he is also in the Madhurya Rasa. Nobody can... Few years ago, I gave a seminar in Sri Krishna Balram Mandir on Prabhupada's Pranam Mantra, Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale. 2 days, full days, and we were blessed. Sitting on that Vyasas and so many things were revealed based on Guru Sadhu Shastra. And all the Srila Prabhupada disciples who are present, they blessed me. They said, such an explanation we never heard. So I said, this is the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. One Prabhupada disciple, Mataji, asked me that Gaudiya Math says that if you want Krishna Prem in Madhurya Rasa, you have to come to us. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj cannot give it to you. Because for 2 reasons. In his Bengali poem that he wrote on Jalduta in the Markine Bhagavat, he says that my more Chir Sakha Krishna, my eternal friend, O Krishna. When will the day come when I will be frolicking in the meadows of Vrindavan, Gocharana, when I will be tending the cows? So that indicates that Prabhupada there is a Sakha of Krishna. I had a recently last to last visit, I had a wonderful conversation with His Holiness Varshana Swami on this subject matter. It lasted about a good 4 hours. I was very blessed. And Maharaj was very happy to, in this discussion. So the thing is that we have to understand that Krishna cannot live without many, many of his associates. He wants them in every Leela, in every Rasa. So Srila Prabhupada is perhaps also as an indication. They say that because the main deities in Vrindavan are Krishna Balram in the center. So Prabhupada is in Sakhya Rasa. He cannot give you Madhuri Rasa. So of course, if you go to ISKCON Vrindavan, that video will be there. That seminar, those who are interested can go through the entire Namam Vishnu Padaya Pranam Mantra word to word. We have, to the best of our ability, explained it. So all those details are there. So if Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when he left his body, he asked specifically Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, one of senior god brothers of Srila Prabhupada, please sing this song for me. Sri Rupa Manjari Pada. The lotus feet of Rupa Manjari, Shai Mora Sampada, it is my eternal treasure. Shai Mora Bhajana Pujana. That is my bhajan, that is my pujan. Shai Mora Pranadhana. That is my life and soul. So we find that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is a very close servant of Rupa Manjari. And if Prabhupada's, in Pranam Mantra we find Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Namaste Saraswate Deve. Another thing, most of us, we make this mistake. We say Namaste Saraswati Deve. No. It is incorrect. Saraswati Deve means the transcendental son of Saraswati Thakur, one who is very dear to him. So if Saraswati Thakur is dear to Rupa Manjari or Rupa Goswami, and Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada is dear to Nayana Manjari or Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, so naturally he is also present in the Madhurya Rasa. These are some of the conclusions. Very logical. There's no speculation here. But we have to get into that mood. Then all these things will be revealed. When we chant the 16 rounds, good rounds, minimum good rounds nicely, these things will be revealed to us in our heart, and then it will be confirmed in Prabhupada's books. Sometimes when we are reading a purport, reading a particular verse or hearing it, some Vaishnava is speaking and the purport is being read. Oh yeah, I had the same thought. I had the same feeling. Then it is confirmation. It is not speculation. Jhara nikate gere papa dure jaya, amona dayala prabhu keba ko thabai. Gangara parasha hoile paschate pavan, darshane pavitra karo ei tomar gun. Hari sthane aparade tare harinam, toma sthane aparade nahi paritrad. Chanting of the holy names will eradicate any kind of offenses that are committed to Bhagavad Aparad, Hari Aparad. But to your lotus feet, if we have committed any offenses, there is no recourse. The next verse, Narottam Das Thakur says, Tomara Hriday Sada Govinda Vishram. In your heart, Krishna is residing with great Vishram. The word is Vishram. One can say Krishna is in everybody's heart, in the ant body, in the Rakshasa's body, in our body, in the Devi Devata's body. As Paramatma is present, yes. But is he at Vishram? Tomara Hriday Sada Govinda Vishram. Vishram means he's at a lot of ease. He's relaxed. No Shrama iti Vishram. There is no Shrama. There is no anxiety. Right now, Krishna is full of anxiety in our hearts because 23 hours, we may not be Krishna conscious. 1 hour, maybe we are Krishna conscious. When the moment we finish our chanting, we leave our homes, we go to work. How much of us, if we analyze ourselves, we are really Krishna conscious? How much do we really constantly think of Krishna? And in that, and we are involved in sense gratification. So Krishna is not at Vishram. He's there as a duty. He's there as a duty because he's a good friend, Surut Sarva Bhutana. But it doesn't mean that he's happy. Just like a parent. A parent can be very happy with a son or a daughter, right? And can be very disappointed also. But still the parents will not give up, will not keep the child bereft of food, clothing, shelter. Similarly, Krishna, he may not be happy with us, but he's always with us. He's performing his duty. But in a Vaishnava's heart, Tomar Hriday Sada Govinda Vishram is always very happy, always at ease, full of joy. Vishram. Govinda Kohena Vaishnava Mama Pran. And Govinda says that Vaishnavas are my life air. Prana, there are 5 life airs. And when the 5th life air or the prana leaves the body, at that time, the body is finished. So Govinda Kohena Vaishnava Mama Pran. They are my life air. That is the reciprocation. Vaishnavas cannot live without Krishna. Krishna cannot live without Vaishnavas. Govinda Kohena Vaishnava Mama Pran. Prati janme kori asa charane na dhuli. Narottame karo daya apnara bhuli. Narottam Das Thakur is praying to the Vaishnava Acharyas. Actually, he had only one, his guru was Srila Loknath Goswami. And he had only one disciple. But here he's praying not only to his guru, he's praying to all the Vaishnava Acharyas. Prati janme kori asa charane na dhuli. It's my only desire, birth to obtain the dust of your lotus feet. Narottame karo daya apnara bhuli. Please have mercy on Narottam Das. I tell you, O Vaishnava Acharyas. That is a very, very high level of prayer. Most of us, Prabhupada also gave us this attraction. You go back to Godhead. So everybody is, that is the halwa or the cake that the kids love. Mom says that you do your homework nicely, I'll give you a piece of cake. And yes, and then the child will sit down and sincerely do the homework or the chores in the house. And then mom or dad gives a cake. So that is not what our goal is. Because the child does not understand that doing the homework, I'm talking in a very simple way, and as an example, is in my benefit. Going back to Godhead is not necessarily our benefit. Any of our acharyas, if we look, none of them have asked of going back to Godhead. But initially, Prabhupada attracted us. And then we are simply repeating those things without understanding the prayers of Parikshit Maharaj, without understanding the prayers of Narottam Das Thakur, without understanding the prayers of the Vaishnava Acharyas. Wherever you want Krishna, wherever you want, I will stay there. Whatever pleases you, O Radharani, O Krishna. Svargeshu narkeshu apavargeshu samatulya darshana. As long as I'm Krishna conscious and as long as I'm engaged in your seva, we all know that famous bhajan, Vaishnav Janto Tene Kahiye Je Peeda Parai Jane, composed by that famous Vaishnava Acharya, Shri Narsi Mehta from Gujarat. And that bhajan became very famous. He was a pure Krishna devotee in Vraj Bhav. So in that one bhajan he says, Harina Janto Mukti na mange Janama Janama Utar re Nitya Kirtan Nitya Ochav Nirakhva Nanda Kumar ne. Harina Janto Mukti na mange. Harijan means Vaishnavas, not what these people have nowadays said. Even in Bengal today we find they use the word for the beggar, they use Daridra Narayan. Prabhupada was very upset when they did that. Even today they use, when they see a beggar, they call him Daridra Narayan. How can Narayan be Daridra? Prabhupada used to retort, roar like a lion. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada objected to that. Lakshmi Devi, Mahalakshmi herself is serving Narayan at his lotus feet. How can he be Daridra? But this is how what people, they change things as it is. And this is what will happen if we follow in their footsteps. That is why stick to the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada, I say. So Harijan, nowadays, that's what Gandhiji changed. He called those untouchables Harijans. That is also a concoction. Hari means Krishna. Jan means devotees of Krishna. That means Vaishnavas. So Harina Janto, Mukti na mange. The Vaishnavas never ask for liberation. Like Satyavrut Muni says, Varam Deva Moksham na Moksham Vadimva. I don't need liberation. So similarly, Harina Janna Mukti na mange Janama Janama Utare. They said, let me be born again and again. Same prayers Parikshit Maharaj also says. But let me be Krishna conscious. Let me be friendly to all. Let me always remember you. Janama Janama Utare. Nitya Kirtan Nitya Ocho Nirakhva Nanda Kumar. And wherever I am, eternally, I chant the holy name. Nitya Kirtan, Nitya Ocho. Every day will be a Krishna conscious day for me. Ocho. It's a feast. For those, because a true Vaishnava is always happy. Nirakhva Nanda Kumar, to serve Krishna wherever I am. That is the bhav. So my dear devotees, I hope we all could take something from today's glorification of the Vaishnava Acharyas. That is our ultimate goal. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, don't try to Sri Krishna. Perform your seva in such a way that whenever he is pleased with you, he will give you darshan. Srila Prabhupada repeated his Guru Maharaj's words so many times, this particular message. But many other, we can say, Mishra Bhakti or other levels of bhakti, they ask for darshan. Darshan do dhan sham akhiya pyasi re. No, whenever you are pleased. Otherwise, I will serve you in separation. That is Gaudiya Bhav. That was makes us distinctly separate from the other Vaishnava Sampradayas who are also bona fide. They serve Krishna in union. They are always hankering in union. But the Vaishnava, Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya in Mahaprabhu's line is not only serving in union, but also in separation. Vipra Nama Gaur Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murte Vipra Lambar Sambode Padam Bojayate Nama. From obeisances to Gaur Kishordas Babaji Maharaj. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Nama Gaur Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murte, who is the embodiment of renunciation. Vipra Lambar Sambode is always immersed in the ocean of serving Radha and Krishna in separation. Padam Bhojayate Nama. I offer my obeisances at his lotus feet. Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much. I know I went a little bit over my time, but that is, my weakness, or somebody may look at it as a strength. But, this is an unlimited ocean glorifying the Acharyas. What can 1 hour, 2 hours, or 2 lifetimes, or 20 million lifetimes do? Impossible. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that even to pay back a guru Thinking to pay back a guru, rin, is Vinoda Patram. That person is a buffoon, is a joker. We can never pay back. We can never pay back. We can even not even think about paying back His Divine Krishna Prabhupada or anyone who has been inspirational in our Krishna conscious life. Impossible. So thinking like that is also a weakness. It is immature Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada. So back to you, Shyama Rasika Mataji and the wonderful devotees on the everyday Harinam chant group conference, and also those who have attended online in the Bhaktivedanta Bhagavad group today. Hare Krishna. If there are any questions or any comments or any corrections, please feel free to unmute yourself. First, I will ask the everyday Harinam chant conference group to open up the microphone, and we can alternate between the other two with the Bhaktivedanta Bhagavad group. So, Shyama Rasika Mataji, the microphone is yours. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Accept my humble obeisances, Nikunja Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. All, nice to hear your voice as well. And yes, it's all glories goes to Guru and Gauranga. Guru Ho and Gauranga. I have more than one Guru. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Yes. Haribol. Haribol. Hare Krishna. Is there anybody that from the Bhaktivedanta Bhagavad group, if you all want to make a comment before we wrap this session up today? Or a question? Online on the Zoom call? So I guess it's a little late now. If nobody has any questions, then I will. We can wrap this up today. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Panchakalpataro Vyascha Kripa Sindhubheva cha Patitanam Pavane Vaishnavebhyo Namo Ananda Godi Vaishnavande Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Shri Gurudev Vande Ham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pada Kamala. उन सब गुरुओं की जय. हरे कृष्णा. हरि बोल.